Live!
Live!
It does not take much for us.
No, it doesn't. The fact that we got this working is big.
Yeah. This was a solid 10 minutes straight of work and like a half hour worry.
Okay. I have like our YouTube stream of this open as well, so that if somehow somebody's watching, they can like comment and we can respond.
Ask questions.
Yeah. And that shifting, like it's shifting between you and me is really messing me up right now.
But that means it's working. It is
I know, right?
time as opposed to last time when it wasn't working.
You mean when it was just you?
I mean, it's better than I want. Maybe it is better than when it's just you all the time. It's been just you for like the past 2 videos or 3 videos or however many videos there are.
Yeah, because last one when we actually went live, it was all you the whole time.
Because I'm pretty.
Okay, so this is a specific discussion, not of any books particularly, but we saw Susan Dennard's discussion on how she mishandled race in Truthwitch, and Robin insisted we had to talk about it because.
Okay, but was I wrong?
No, you weren't wrong. Race within fantasy worlds is very, very important to both of us, especially Robin, because she doesn't see a whole lot of herself represented.
So, people get mad when you make elves black. I don't know why.
There's no reason elves can't be black. No reason whatsoever.
Not my desk, not my desk.
Because Susan kind of addressed it a little bit, we wanted to go into our thoughts on the matter and kind of, for the most part, we kind of agree with her. She did mishandle a lot. She was a bit ham-handed in the way she handled things, and
oh my god,
she's learned, she's grown, she sees it, and she wishes she had never done it. But now that she's got an established world, she kind of has to work within that.
You mean she hasn't invented a time machine yet?
No.
Dang. So get on that. What do we want? A time machine. When do we want is irrelevant.
But okay, so the main thing she was focusing on in the video was the Nomatsi people, who she basically made the Roma people.
Okay, so you saw that too.
Yes, I totally saw that they were.
I'm like, they're gypsies. They're 100% gypsies.
Right. Yeah. So they're a nomadic tribe. Well, a bunch of nomadic tribes. They come from the east of the Witchlands. They're hated by everybody. Nobody really talks about why. They're just universally despised. And
still sounds like the Roma.
She went into it a little bit in her video, talking about how there's a specific event that's why the Nomatsis are despised by everybody. And for some reason, she didn't expound on it within the book, but they're supposed to look like they're dead. Basically, they look like their skin's so pale, they look like they're dead. They're basically me.
I'll be honest, I thought they were white people.
I thought pretty much everybody was white people in there.
Well, I mean, like, they were, like, super pale, like, they haven't seen the sun in 30 years, white people.
Yeah.
Dark hair.
Yeah, basically like me in high school. I had black hair then. Oh.
I didn't look like that in high school.
But yeah, so apparently their skin's supposed to be basically looking like it's dead, but they're also supposed to look a little bit Asian. But she never really goes into that because she didn't want to seem racist. Because if you look up like Edwin art, it's pretty like obvious he's of Asian.
Now you're making me look up Edwin art.
Yes, I make you look up Edwin art. Probably
is it like him getting like hanged or anything?
No, because he turns into a human.
But
I get that you don't like him, but you're like the only one. He's the only one with a hashtag.
what?
His hashtag is Bainwin. Because people love him.
Pourquoi?
Because people like people who are dicks.
Okay, one of these pictures doesn't even have Edwin dark enough to be Namatsi. Or, I mean, he's too dark to be Namatsi.
Well, I think he's only half.
Yes, but I mean, like, this dude is like, you know, tanned. Okay, they also made him look a whole lot like the guy. There's a lot of them where he looks like the guy from the one where you're crawling up, not crawling over buildings, but jumping over buildings, jumping on buildings and Assassin's Creed.
Yes, there's a lot of art of him like Assassin's Creed because he has that whole hood thing. And
yeah.
so I found some fan art of him and Ezel because they're awesome. And they're totally going to get together, probably by the end of this book.
Shut up.
Robin's really, really mad with my ability to guess stuff.
And I am really mad when it's something I don't want.
Yet she doesn't mind so much when... Come on, come on, come on. So obviously this doesn't show them as pale as she claims they're supposed to be, but...
Nothing shows them as pale as they're supposed to. They're supposed to be like dang near see-through.
Yeah. I saw some, like a poster or something she had where...
Although you would think in the course of 2 books, you could have found some way of saying that their skin was see-through.
You'd think. But the cool thing is... she introduced in Windwitch a character who is not only black, but has... What's that? Why am I blanking on the name of it?
Oh, God. Vitiligo.
Vitiligo, yes. And may or may not be trans. Like, they refer to her as she throughout, like, Merrick's thoughts, but at the same time he calls her boy, and she's totally okay with it, never corrects him, but he thinks of her as she, and it's really weird. I'm not entirely sure where she's going with it.
I can give you spoilers. I finished the book.
I'm not done with it yet. I have like 20 chapters to go.
Jesus, what have you been doing on your vacation?
Not reading, unfortunately, which is bad because I have a book due at the library in like 6 days.
And you have 8 books that you didn't actually check out.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm gonna have to deal with that.
Oh, okay. Okay. Let's untangent ourselves.
Yeah. Okay. So race in the Witchlands. So she basically went on, like Susan basically went on and said, like, she's sorry she ever included the Nomazi people as they are. She feels awful about the fact that she basically made them hated. All that. Like, she's like, I did it wrong. I shouldn't have ever done it. Now, I kind of went into this a little bit in a conversation with Robin just so that I could remember my thoughts later on when we decided to do this. And I feel like it's probably a bad idea to make the hated race white, which it seemed to be. And my only thought process on that is it sticks in line with this idea that we have in our culture right now of, or at least white people's culture, that we are becoming the minority. We're being oppressed because our rights are being taken away when our rights are basically mistreating other people.
I don't get to be racist anymore. That's racist.
Exactly. So it kind of like having a seemingly white race appear to be hated simply based on their skin color, because we don't know why they're like what reason the Nomatsu people are hated.
That's because we don't know very much of anything in this world.
This is true. She doesn't go into a whole lot of history, and apparently that's because she's building it up for later books. But it would be cool if we had little hints of stuff, even if she
We don't
didn't
get history. We don't get very much culture. We don't get, the physics of the universe.
Yeah. But so I kind of agree with her on that front, that they should, like, the Nomatsu people definitely shouldn't have been just plain white people. Which supposedly they weren't, but that didn't come across in the first book at all.
I mean, there's really no race that you can just say, if we're going to make them, we're going to judge them by their skin color, we need to make them this race.
Agreed.
I feel like, to be honest, white people might be like, if you're going to do that, white people might be the best one to go for, simply because everyone else already has a history of that.
True, but my thought process was trying to give some truth to the history and trying to bring some honesty to the struggles that other people deal with, because we have to have race in fantasy novels. We have to talk about race issues in fantasy novels. It's important. It's important to address all of that. And I kind of think about, like, I know I mentioned this, but in Children of Blood and Bone, everybody in the book was pretty much black. I think there may have been one, like, traveler who was kind of Asian, who was from an, like, visiting sort of thing. But it's not really ever gone in. I don't remember.
Huh? Yeah.
But so we but there was a difference between the lighter skinned nobility class and normal people, and then the lowest of the bottom level diviner class of dark black skin with white hair. They would have been magi if they had been able to access magic. They were taxed the crap out of. They were mistreated. They were abused. All sorts of awfulness. If they couldn't afford to pay the taxes that were required of them, they'd be enslaved, and worked to death, basically. So, the book handled it really well. It showed that the people mistreating them were bad people. And I did kind of get that feeling, like, everywhere Isolde went in the first book, the people who didn't mistreat her were the people you wanted to watch out for. Like, the people that you wanted to like Merrick and Safi and Ryber, who was, I think, the only, like, straight out and out black person in the first book.
I think Cullen, maybe.
Cullen, maybe.
I'd have to reread it, but I think Cullen.
Yeah. She barely went into skin colors.
Well, no, she barely went into skin colors unless they were Nomatsu.
Right.
Like, in this case, like, you know, it's like...
And then even then she basically just said they were pale.
Yes, with dark hair.
Which, when I think pale, I think this.
Well, yeah, I mean, your skin does fluoresce.
Yes.
It's not doing it right now, but your skin.
I'm hoping this hair color might help a little bit with that. Because it's a little darker than my last one. Crazy part is it's the exact same dye.
Good job.
Just we had 2 bottles of it this time instead of one that we thinned so that it could fit all my hair.
Okay, we're tangenting now. Back on track.
Okay.
Although I figure if we tangent enough, we go in a circle.
True. So I definitely think race is an important thing to have in there, and it's important to address race issues within the fantasy world, as well as contemporary novels and other books. I mean, if you want to have an awesome utopia where all races get together and have like there's no race hatred, that's pretty cool.
I mean, that would be nice. I mean, as opposed to, hey, everyone's white.
Agreed. Absolutely agreed. Like, have some black people that are just described as tan, please.
Or I mean, you can describe them however dark you want them to be. Just have them there.
Yeah. Yeah.
And not just they don't. Unfortunately, fantasy is my chosen genre. I did not choose to go into urban fiction.
No, because you like fantasy. You like the aspect.
I love fantasy. It's just, God dang it, people, I exist.
Yes, you do. And you are fabulous.
Of course I am. and half dark because you can't see the side of my face.
No, you are all dark.
Shut up.
I love you.
And you are all pale. Shut up. Why do we feel like some kind of like jacked up?
I'm actually really bummed that we can't be wearing our necklaces right now.
Oh my God.
So Robin bought us best friends necklaces from Claire's that are totally Twitch's necklaces.
Yes, they are.
But the chains broke within like a week.
Yours broke in a week, mine broke in a day.
Yeah. So now we gotta get chains to fix them. But so what were your thoughts on specifically the Nomazi people?
Here's our necklaces.
Yes, those are our necklaces.
Where's the button to stop the screen sharing? I lost it. I literally lost a button to not screen. Did it stop?
Yes.
Okay.
But yeah, so those were my thoughts that race is important. We need to have it. We need to, like, if you're going to be having race issues, you need to be discussing race issues and painting racists as bad people. Which I did feel in Truthwitch that the people who were hating on Isolde for being Nomazi were bad people, or even just not necessarily bad people. Like, they weren't necessarily people that you were supposed to like.
Yeah, it was basically every non-main character hates the Nomazis.
Yes, and it made me feel like they were all kind of shitty people.
Yeah, I'm like, although I really wanted to know like why, like I would like to read about the history of the Nomazis to figure out why the heck did they have to settle so close if everyone hated them there.
Yeah, like I need to know why everybody hates them.
Why everyone hates them, and I'm like, you're nomads. Why choose that spot?
Yeah, because there's only one Nomazi city. Starts with an M.
Medenzi,
yes. Which sounds vaguely Italian to me.
It does. Oh my God.
Because Isolde is from that town because she's Isolde at Medenzi.
Yeah.
And yeah, we don't know anything about the history beside like more than 20 years ago, because we know about the 20-year, like the war that ended with the 20 years peace accord that they're supposed to be renewing.
20-year truce.
Yes, the 20-year truce. And yeah.
That they are barely keeping to.
Yeah.
It's like, how can we skirt around the truce?
So how do you feel like, besides your things on the history and stuff that you wish were expounded upon, specifically the hatred of the Nomazi people?
It was all encompassing. Like, Isolde literally couldn't go anywhere
without somebody hating her.
Yeah. It's like, here, cover yourself from head to toe. And it's just like, it made it, like I said, it was seriously like, what the heck is going on here?
I seriously sat there wondering sometimes, like, are they gonna kill? Like, are they just gonna kill her?
I know, right?
So much. Are they just gonna kill her just for being there and being Nomatsu? Like, really?
You know, like I said, we both associated them with the Roma, and so I'm like, do they think she's going to steal their baby? Do they think that she's going to cast some magic spell on them?
Do they think she's just gonna steal, like, fleece them and steal their money? Like, what's going on here? Like, why?
Yeah, because I was very much stuck on the she's Roma, except I'm not sure if you can tell a Roma from skin tone alone.
No, I don't think so.
I don't think so.
I think they mostly look like Eastern European.
Probably. I don't know. I don't know. I need to stop playing my mother's games.
I think it's more like actually seeing them in their clans and stuff that gives away who they are.
Right. And if I remember right with Isolde, doesn't she mostly wear, or no, that might be after she left Midenzi, this, in Truthwitch, where she starts dressing more Nomatsu all the time.
It's possibly after that because I don't think they had very many changes of clothes.
Yes, like, and just everyone, like, what is wrong with you people? That there is no one around who likes Nomatsus except for, like I said, the main characters and Uncle Eric and, or is it Henry? Eric and Matthew and it starts with an H. Habib?
Habib. Yeah, Matthew and Habib are the teachers.
Like other than that, like no one like how does she survive in that
and
city?
It's Aaron, not Eric.
It's Aaron.
Uncle Aaron.
Okay.
Yes, Uncle Aaron.
How does she survive in that city?
Like in here you only have to deal with like fraction of the people are like that blatantly racist.
I know. And was there a question? Shoot, I lost it. Keep talking.
But I think we both agree race is very important to have in fantasy novels, and I think Susan would agree with that too. It's like she was saying, she's learned so much about race over the last few years since she wrote Truthwitch.
Oh, I think I remember what I was going to say. Except for Safi, no one else really ever comments on the anti-Nomatsu few sentiments that everyone seems to have.
Right.
Like Safi, who has no filter in her when we're in her point of view. It's just like, oh my God, these people are horrible. But I mean, like, literally all these other people who don't hate the Nomatsu.
Yeah, like Merrick never addresses it with his crew or anything.
Merrick never addressed it. I don't know why it took me so long to realize that Edwin was Nomatsu, or at least half Nomatsu. And
because they didn't expound on the skin tone.
True. And I guess he has the bigger problem of being a blood witch.
Yeah, being a blood witch and part Nomatsu would be pretty bad.
Yeah. So I mean, like everyone hates him because he's a blood witch, and they think he's going to kill them, which is not too far off the mark, to be honest.
He could. He really could. Still, his abilities are like way more managed, like interesting than Safi's.
Safi has issues, but we'll talk about that in the next time we talk about the book.
I just reached the part where she's talking.
Julie's hair is blue.
Your mommy didn't recognize me.
No, she didn't.
Um, but no, like I just reached the part where she was talking to the chiseled cheater with about how her powers work. And I can't believe they brought him back.
I know, right?
But do you feel like we need to say something more about it?
I probably did a week ago, and then
It wasn't a week ago, it was like Monday.
I think it was Sunday.
I don't think so.
Okay.
To be fair, I've been really bad at keeping track of the days this week.
I wonder why.
Because I've been on vacation.
Frack you.
It's nice.
I know. I was on vacation a couple weeks ago.
But yes, so I'll be interested to see how she kind of tweaks things as the series goes on.
Starting with Blood Witch.
Yeah. Yeah, because Blood Witch is coming out like next year.
Did she have sensitivity readers for the first two?
I don't think she did.
Okay.
At the very least, not Truthwitch. Like she says, she wished she had used sensitivity readers for it. Which
I like that she fessed up to all of her mistakes and the fact that even though she didn't mean to hurt people, she hurt people, and she's sorry for that.
Yes.
It's not but I'm not racist.
No, she was like, I've done a lot of work. I've changed I messed up, and I'm going to continue messing up and working and changing and trying to do better and so on. Because she gets it. She gets that she's outside of it and she may not necessarily see issues without being educated on it.
Right.
Because it's a problem we have as white people.
You dang white people.
I'm sorry. I can't help my skin color any more than you can. I still love you.
Of course you do.
But yeah, so I don't necessarily think she was wrong in having a race discussion within the books. She was actually going to she obviously wasn't leaning toward, like she wasn't planning on that when she started the series. But if she can turn it into that somehow, it'd be kind of cool. Where she
I'm sure she will.
She'll try at least.
Yeah. It in her attempt to fix it, she will.
But I'm really looking forward to what she does in the future, how she handles race in the future. I really, really like her as an author and a person. I like that she's willing to try and learn and change and not just being like, bleh, I'm right, you're wrong.
Right.
Or
I didn't mean it, and so it doesn't count.
I'm not sure I entirely agree with her idea that white people can't be woke. Here's my main reason for thinking that. Yes, we are always going to have to challenge our preconceived notions. We're always going to have to challenge internal biases. But by recognizing that we have to do that, I believe that that's what being woke as a white person is. It may not be always understanding race issues or always being correct in race issues, but it's always being willing to learn, always being willing to listen and sit back and let people of color discuss and teach and say what we're doing wrong and just be like, okay, I'm going to do better. Do you know what I mean?
Yes. that when I heard her say that, I was like, wait, what?
Which I think she was kind of meaning like we'll never be perfect at it.
Yeah, no.
We'll never be on the inside of race issues because we're considered the norm. Um,
A white person can't. A white person can't say, just I'm not racist and I have no more issues. But then again, black people can't say the same thing. Like we have grown up in this society that has told all of us this stuff.
and if you look at like individual racist people, there's racist people everywhere. um, Racism as a structure, as a societal paradigm, is a different matter. You'll never be able to get rid of individual racists as a whole. You can beat them down a lot by not having a racist system.
I feel like we could probably handle individual racists better if we didn't have a racist system.
Completely agree. And as a white person, it took me a long time to understand just how racist our system is, because I was raised to believe that it's the same for everybody, that we all have the same opportunities. I have a black boss. If he can do it, any black person can do it. You know what I mean? Like,
I didn't get that in my house.
Like, supposedly we're all on a level playing field, and it's just not true because of the communities that we live in make a difference, the schools we go to, the opportunities we have. Yes, some inner city black kids manage to make it to a really good school because they had amazing grades, got great scholarships, or their parents just happened to be win the lottery, whatever it is. They manage to get opportunities that other people in their same society don't have. Somehow they manage to stay out of a gang. Somehow they manage this, that, the other thing. Go to a good school, get a good job, become a white person's boss. That doesn't mean every single individual black person has the same opportunities. And to be fair, neither do all white kids. Like, I knew that I had to find a way to get myself to school. Other kids that we went to school with, their parents just paid for them. I distinctly remember one time I was sitting there with my freshman year roommate. So we were roommates freshman year. Sophomore year, she came back and we were talking, and I don't remember how this came up, but she had said she had forgotten to fill out her FAFSA that year.
Yeah, no.
And her parents just paid for her school. And I was like, well, if I forgot to fill out my FAFSA, I wouldn't be here this year. So, like, yeah, there's class differences too that affect us all. But unfortunately, like, there are way more lower class, working class black families than there are white families. It's just the truth. Way more of them are caught in the the poor trap.
Yeah, I mean, okay, most people, make around how much their parents make.
Right. And so,
and
if your parents don't make a lot, you're probably
right.
going to make a lot.
I mean, and even in your family will take, we will, I don't even know if we want to tell people this. But I mean, there's years and years and years of oppression to get over. And we are not talking like it ended, 100 years ago. We're not talking that it ended 50 years ago.
Right.
This is stuff that happened.
And we've made giant strides in the past 50 years. Don't get me wrong. Like, huge changes since, like, there's been huge. Yes, you can.
Okay.
There's been huge changes since the hold on a second. since not even like the end of segregation and stuff, but even just like before that, you go all the way back to slavery. There's been huge changes in the last few hundred years on race relations, but we're not done. We're just not. Just because we say we're all equal doesn't make us all equal. And it'd be beautiful for us to be in a place where it doesn't matter anymore at all. Your skin color doesn't factor into anything.
Well, that would be wonderful.
And realistically, that's what all people should want. And I think all people, I think all non, like out and out, I want to kill all people who don't look like me. I think we all want that, but we have different ideas on how to get there.
And whether or not we're there yet?
Yes. Because it's difficult. And Robin sent me a private message asking me if she could mention something. My parents helped me buy my house. It was a small gift. It was $5,000 towards my first house, which, when you're talking house money, is not a lot.
There were 4 of you.
Yeah, they gave me and my 3 sisters each money. And like, it was my entire down payment. I bought a small 3-bedroom bungalow in in a suburb of Detroit.
Not one of the rich ones.
No, not one of the rich ones. Just nowhere near a rich one.
It's like white Detroit.
Kind of, yeah. Getting a little less white every day, but yeah.
Well, okay. Compared to Detroit, it's white Detroit.
Yes. It's the same city I grew up in. Just like a subdivision over, basically. It basically you really can't tell when you leave Detroit, except there's a sign saying "Welcome to my city." It's actually really close to the Detroit border. I can drive just a few minutes down Fort Street and be in Detroit. And so there's a lot of racially motivated stuff that happens in my area. But most people don't have parents that can just give them $5,000 down payment for their first house.
Well, I can't remember if you told me this or if your parents told me this, but they're doing this because their parents helped them pay for a house.
Yes, my grandfather worked for Ford. He had a great job. He had 8 kids, and he still managed to be able to give my parents, I don't know how much it was at that time, but gave them a little bit of money towards their first house. So they wanted to return the favor to me and my to me and my sisters. How many people in your neighborhood, Robin, could afford to do that?
Yeah, no. When my parents tried to sell their house, they sold it to the person next door because they managed to have the cash for the house, which was not a very expensive house anyway. And everyone else in the neighborhood is like, well, why did you give it to us? It's like, you don't have the money. Also, my next door neighbors were drug dealers.
They were what?
Drug dealers.
Which is why they had the cash, right?
Yeah.
Like, if you don't mind my asking, do you know around how much?
No, not at all.
Okay.
Everyone else is like, why did you sell to the drug dealers? It's like, because they could pay us cash for it, and you can't.
Right, and your parents were getting divorced and wanted to offload the house.
And they also wanted to get out of Detroit quickly. But I mean, for years, Black people have been barred from buying houses, period.
Yes.
And so
especially in suburbs.
And yeah,
Suburbs.
and for a while it was in Detroit. Like you could only buy houses in very certain neighborhoods.
And only the poorest sections, and like,
and when housing opened up to Black people, like when other neighborhoods would open up, like you might pay, let's say they pay $45,000 for a house. Well, all of a sudden, once all the white people were like, "Oh, we have a Black person in the neighborhood, this housing prices are going to go down," they all tried to move at the same time, which drove
the housing prices
go down. So your $45,000 house is no longer worth $45,000.
Right.
And so while while this white family over here, their house appreciated in value, all of a sudden this Black person's house is worth nothing.
Right. Right. No, I get it. We actually have new neighbors moving in. They just bought the house that was previously a rental next door, and I guess are having issues with the previous homeowners. Well, not homeowners, but the previous renters. Somebody stole all their screens, like off their windows. Like, why? And broke one of the upstairs windows, like broke it from the inside out.
They had to get the house somehow.
Like, upstairs window, it was shattered, but they somehow got in the house and just broke the upstairs window. No, it's and people like to think that it's all just like, I saw this really interesting video that I can't remember what it was, but this guy was talking about how Black people are viewed as spiders in our culture, even by each other. Like, they're often like viewed at like, what's this person doing? Why are they here? You know, calling on a kid that's selling lemonade. Like calling the police on a kid that's selling lemonade. Calling the police on a guy that's doing listening to yoga in his car. A family having a picnic. Like,
this is when I heard, what would you do? Calling the cops on a family that sleep in their car.
That I might do, just because
they were not worried about the family, Julie.
I know. Yeah, I'd have to seriously think about that one and see whether I thought they were dead or not.
But I mean, this is the only time I will ever quote Scandal. Take that back. I've said this quote multiple times, but this is the only quote I will ever say from Scandal. We have to work twice as hard to get half as far.
Yes.
I mean, I don't care whether or not you like him. President Obama was beyond reproach. And I mean, anything his detractors like would jump on, like they would jump on everything. Oh my God, he's on vacation. Oh my God, his wife is on vacation. Oh my God, his wife is doing this.
To be fair, our current president has taken more vacations than he did.
Dude.
In the same amount of time.
Bush II took more vacations than Obama did.
Did he really?
Obama, I think, in 8 years took less vacation than Bush II did in 4.
Like, I don't know. Nobody ever advertised how many vacations.
When they were complaining about how many vacations that Obama was, taking, they had shown how many Bush had taken up to that point, at that point. And Obama had taken quite a few less than Bush.
We may have to find that at some point.
Yes. But I mean,
I want to see, like, I believe you, but I kind of want to see the
numbers
on that one.
And but it's just, you have to be he has to have
to get to where he was, he had to
be perfect.
Jump through so many hoops.
Yes, he did.
And it's funny because I actually remember back when the election first when election stuff first started, before the national convention and stuff like that, where they finally picked who the nominees were going to be. Like when you just had a whole bunch of Democratic guys, a bunch of Republican ones.
Mm-hmm.
I remember seeing him on the Daily Show and thinking, this guy sounds pretty good. And then I went home and talked to my parents.
Oh.
It did not go well. They were like, anybody but him. And where I'm at now in my life, I kind of wish I had voted for him. I kind of regret that I had been kind of a poop head. Because I've grown and changed a lot.
I really have a question. How does one honestly believe that his mother and or grandmother thought 35 plus years in advance and put his name, his birth announcement in the paper? That was one thing that they said, that they just put his birth announcement in the paper so he could be an American citizen. And I'm like, the only reason that would matter is to be president. Otherwise, you could just become an American citizen at any point in your life.
Right. It wouldn't matter because unless he was going to be president, there's no point in trying to fake him being a naturalized citizen.
Right.
Because you can be an unnaturalized citizen in pretty much any other position in government except president.
Yes.
So there's no reason to fake that unless you somehow think your kid's going to be president. And he's how old?
No.
50 something, probably.
Yes, probably.
Like, I know he was fairly young.
He was one of the young ones.
But he was still at least 40 something, I think. He's such a dad. So many dad jokes.
He is currently 56.
Okay.
So put him at like about
6 years ago would have been sometime in the 60s.
Yes. 61.
61. So he's like a year older than my dad. God, he's such a dad.
I'm sure his kids say that all the time.
Oh, I believe it. I believe it. But yeah, like his for his parents in the 60s, like 1961, thinking that your kid's gonna be president. Really?
When
your half black kid's gonna make it to be president somehow in 1961?
Yeah, no.
He couldn't even use the same toilet when he was born.
I'm pretty sure no one thought of that because my parents, they're a little bit older than that, and they were convinced they would never see a black president in their lifetime.
I'm glad they got to see it. I hope they get to see more.
I do think that would be nice.
I hope they get to see a black woman president too.
I was about to say Michelle 2020.
Doesn't want it.
I know.
As amazing as she is, I cannot blame her for not wanting it.
Oh God, I know, right?
And they just look like they're having the greatest retirement ever.
I know. Because after all of that hell they went through for 8 years, I would I'm gone.
But I just, race is such a big deal for all of us. It's very important to have race issues smacking us in the face every day with things aren't right.
And maybe if the racist people read enough of this stuff and they realize, oh wait, that's me, I need to work on this.
Maybe. That's how I did it.
It's just look. This is you in book form. Fix yourself.
For the record, I was never like hating anybody, but
You know,
I fed into the system. I benefited from the system. I didn't see anything wrong with the system. And I've changed.
yes, you have. Good job.
Mostly because of my friendship with this one.
I work magic.
She opened my eyes to a lot of stuff.
Opened a lot of people's eyes to a lot of things.
School did a lot of it too. Like just going, like getting away from my parents for a while. Really, like, I still will never forget the day that one of my French classmates, Lauren, walked into class in tears because she had been walking outside East Quad and somebody had hung up some little babies, like baby dolls, that they had painted black and hung them in the trees.
Oh yeah, I'm glad I didn't see that. I cried. I don't think. I think I would have just turned around and went back and like cried for a while.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm not sure if I would have made it to class that day.
Well, we were in
the building.
Like, it was an East Quad class.
Yeah.
But yeah, like it was that was, I feel like that was a big eye opener for me as far as like I don't have to deal with stuff like that on a daily basis. I may have to deal with some individual hatred in certain respects, but it's rare. It's like it's really, really rare comparatively. And I can't imagine what you guys go through. Like,
I apparently now am thinking in TV quotes because on the show Cloak and Dagger, one of the main characters, he's black. His brother was shot by a policeman, 8 years before the show started.
right.
His parents are on him all the time about where is he, what is he doing, who is he with, and he's like, and so he goes to his parents and says, I'm afraid, I feel like you believe that if I make one wrong move, I'll be killed too. And his mom was like, no, we're afraid that even if you are perfect, you will still be killed.
All right. I don't know if you've seen it, but the Thug trailer dropped recently.
I think I saw part of it, but I didn't want to watch it.
It's gonna be a hell of a movie. Like, yeah, we can. Okay. But we're gonna wrap this up. Thank you for joining us. We will hopefully.
Why are you laughing?
Because it keeps flip-flopping on us and it's driving me crazy. We're hopefully going to be doing Witchwitch soon. I get back to work on Monday and I'll have a bunch of time to listen to the audiobook and hopefully get it finished.
So the fact that you're going back to work means you have more time for books.
Yes. I don't have, like, I just want my kid to go back to school.
Your kid wants to go back to school.
Yeah. Okay, we're going to wrap this up. Thank you for joining us. We hope you have, if you have any thoughts on what we talked about, like, just comment. We'll try to respond as soon as possible. We really enjoyed doing this. We hope to be able to do it again. Maybe our next fantasy world will have a little bit better of a start off with its races. Who knows? We'll have to see.
Maybe we'll either that or watch it be a monoculture.
Hopefully not. I do try to avoid those for the books we read together. For the most part. You know.
Because I like books with black people on the cover.
True.
Because you know, in the fantasy genre, that's like 4.
Except for like A Court of Thorns and Roses. Kind of. Yeah. They didn't do so well. But there were a lot of tan characters.
Oh yeah. I feel like we need to be like everyone is tan, and it's like, dude, I am darker than tan.
Yes.
That's like when CoverGirl came up with the we need to end this.
We're gonna be reading Sightwitch soon, which has Ryber on the cover. You should be excited.
I am. Do you know how hard it is for me to not start that right now?
Yes. I'm trying, okay? It is really distracting.
Well, that's because your kid likes to talk.
All right, we gotta go.
Thanks.
Bye. Thanks for joining us.